Before we get into the podcast, be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at This Strange World Podcast and on Twitter at This Strange Pod. Welcome back to This Strange World. I'm Gavin.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Chris.
And Chris, you have a really... Well, let me start off by saying, how are you all? This is how I start off. How are y'all doing?
I'm good. I'm really good.
Yeah, we're good. We're vibing.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. We always try to have some sort of banter in the beginning because then whenever we jump into it too quickly, then we're always like, oh my goodness, we're jumping into it too fast.
Yeah, but we're trying to keep it like 45 if we can.
we're trying to keep some tighter episodes. How are you doing, Leah?
I'm good. I'm vibing. I'm here with my dog. That's cool.
We're all here.
Yeah, we had a little I Spy before the show, you know.
What?
What?
Little I Spy. You couldn't find the right equipment. My equipment was having trouble.
Oh, I couldn't find my headphones. It was on the floor of my room. I just didn't see it there. Anyways, my mom would be so proud.
That's a sign that we all need to clean our rooms. I definitely.
My room is clean. Oh my god. Okay.
Oh, it's so clean. That's why Chris was easily able to see your headphones on the ground.
They're pink, they're bright, and they're on the ground. I couldn't see it. Anyway.
No, it's okay. It's late. It's late.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. It's late. It's a late night.
It's late.
And we gotta. Is this a spooky topic? Should we not be doing this at night?
It's not spooky.
No,
okay,
I'm
this
good.
is spooky.
I'm good. I can't get scared of anything right now. I'm feeling good.
I don't think we've had a spooky episode, really. A really spooky episode.
Oh, we have.
Well, we had the Spooky World, the Halloween special.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Which, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. Or if you haven't listened to it, go check it out.
I know. I always say like that we're filming, but we're not filming. We're recording.
TBR.
There's no video. There's no video. It says you can't see us, but we can see you. Don't turn around. Or turn around. We're right behind you.
Don't do that. Gavin, don't do that now.
We can see you. You can see behind yourself. You're looking at your face.
But it's like bright here in front of me in the foreground, then background it's like really dark, and it's like, okay. Anyways.
All right, well, you turned your lights off. Chris, we've got a very interesting topic today that was a pretty late switch in the game in our schedule. You were going to do something else this week, but we pushed it back, and now you decided to do this, and I don't really know a lot about it. Leah doesn't know a lot about it.
Yeah, this was literally a switch today that happened, a couple hours ago. I just researched this quick and started writing a script about it. So last week we had an amazing episode talking about pseudo-archaeology in ancient Egypt.
Woo!
If you haven't checked that out, go check it out after this podcast. Leah did an amazing job on it. We had a good guest on it. It was great. I bring this up because the people I'm going to be talking about today are far less complex than the ancient Egyptians, and they also may have never known the Egyptians even existed. Today, I'm going to be talking about probably the last known pre-Neolithic civilization on Earth, and they live on arguably the most dangerous island on the planet, which is called North Sentinel Island.
Ooh.
Bum, bum, bum.
So I'm extremely excited to talk about this topic because of how dangerous this place is and the history behind these people. And before I get into the story, I want to touch base on the natives of the island and their situation. So I'm going to be giving a little background on these people. So these people who live on the island are known as the Sentinelese, and they come basically straight from the source of where all humans originally came from. And by that, I mean all humans originated from Africa. Me and Leah learned this because we took a class on this stuff.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like a womb, like they came from a womb.
Oh, no,
everyone else.
No, you'll know what I'm saying pretty soon. So all humans came from Africa. Some went throughout Africa and up through the Middle East. Some went north to Europe and some went west to Asia. The people who live on North Sentinel Island are believed to be the descendants from one of the first tribes to leave Africa. And this tribe of people settled on the island 55 to 60,000 years ago, and they never left. So this tribe has been on this island for 60,000 years.
60,000 years?
60,000 years.
Did they not leave just because, well, it is an island, but as we learned in class, not landlocked, but when an island is previously connected to land and then it kind of breaks off, is it because of that?
Well, that's how they got there. I was doing a little research. This is off script. I'm already going off script.
Off script.
I was reading like these myths about the thing, and so a lot of people think they went by boats, which would make sense because they're on an island. But a lot of people think that they might have crossed over a land bridge that went away when the seas rose.
Okay.
And then they just got stranded on the island 60,000 years ago. I'm not exactly sure because I'm not an expert on this stuff.
Wait, can we reemphasize 60,000?
60,000 years ago. Interestingly enough, the tribe settled on the island long before we even knew what agriculture was and what farming was. So quite literally, this tribe is stuck in the Stone Age. And I say like that with like an asterisk because they're technically in the Iron Age, but we'll get into that later on.
Ooh, complex.
Yeah, but so they don't know what a farm is. They don't know what farming is. They only know hunter and gatherer. Like they're essentially a hunting and gathering society, living mainly on fish and the shellfish caught off the island, while also hunting the local wildlife, but with a bow and arrow. And so while the rest of the world uses farms and supermarkets to get their food, these people don't even know what a farm is.
So how many people are on this island? Rough number.
They say between 55 to 500 people, and it's really hard to tell how many people are there.
55 to 500. That's a pretty big range.
Yeah.
They say it's really hard to figure out how many people live on the island because most of the island is a dense forest. So by satellite, you can't see anything.
They don't need a satellite, but they could use like a chopper and do heat sensing and stuff.
Yeah, but then they'd get like, all right, let's just jump into it.
Let's jump into it.
About it. We don't even want to.
You can't. This is answering Leah's thing. You can't use a chopper, and I'll get into that. You cannot fly a helicopter.
Blow their minds.
They may blow you up.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll shoot stuff at you. So let's just get into it.
All right, now let's get into why this island is considered the most dangerous island on Earth. They're considered to be some. Some would say, well, maybe a volcano is more dangerous, but we'll get into that. Okay. So as we know from history, anytime there's been a native or indigenous tribe, some outside country wants to come in and take over those who live there. And this has been the case for many tribes around the world. Impressively, this tribe has managed to remain uncolonized and mainly untouched by the rest of the world around them for the duration of their extremely long history on the island. The first recorded encounter with the island was in 1771, when a British surveyor noticed lights on the island. Unlike many other stories I'm going to be discussing in this episode, he didn't stop on the island, only noting the strange lights and kept sailing away. For almost 100 years after this, the island was forgotten to the rest of the world. No one besides the Sentinelese ever stepped foot on the island, until in 1867, when an Indian merchant ship known as the Nineveh, it's an Indian ship, Nineveh. I'm having a trouble with that. All right, shipwrecked on the island. The 86 passengers and 20 crewmates remained on the island for 3 days until they were attacked by the locals. They survived only by defending themselves with sticks and stones until they were picked up by a British Navy vessel.
Oh, well, so they made it out alive.
They did. They did make it out alive. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. What year did you say this was?
This was in 1867. So it wasn't. So 60,000 years had gone by before this tribe even saw another human from another part of the world.
Where is this island?
I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the episode. So it's right off the coast of. It's surrounded by, on the right you have Myanmar, and on the left you have India, and so it's right smack dab in the Bay of Bengal.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not remote. Like, people have gotten there. It's also really close to a city. There's a city like on the same islands as this island. Like there's an island called Port Blair, or there's a city called Port Blair, which is like really close, like 50 kilometers away.
Yeah, it's like really, there's like a long island right next to it, and it's not too far from like you said, Myanmar and Thailand, and even like Malaysia, and then it's near India and Sri Lanka. Like it's right in the middle of that whole area.
Yeah. It's not in a remote part of the world. I was gonna say my script is pretty remote. It's not a remote island. It's just you can't go there because you get attacked.
Yeah.
It's dangerous there.
Yeah.
For the next 13 years, no one dared to land on this island until a British officer named Maurice Vendale Portman, who was in charge of the colony that included North Sentinel Island. He was in charge of like the Indian colonies, and this was a colony that was a part of it. And so he said, I'm going to lead an expedition. In 1880, he decided to lead an expedition to the island. When they ventured into the forest, they found nothing but abandoned huts. So he decided to keep going deeper into the forest to try to find the locals. After a few days, he found a group of 6 Sentinelese people. And this is the part of the story I don't understand. He found 6 people in the forest, and then instead of trying to like be friends with them, he kidnapped them and put them on a ship and hauled them to the nearby city of Port Blair. The 6 people included 1 elderly couple and 4 children. Because these people have never had any outside contact for 60,000 years, their immune systems are not ready to handle the germs of the outside world, and all 6 people quickly fell ill with the disease and killed the 2 elderly people. Portman Very smart man. Then took the 4 sick children back to the island with some presents. To which point we have no idea what disaster this caused the people living there. Even still, this couldn't have made the impression of outsiders any more inviting to the Sentinelese. And I say it doesn't make any sense because you're trying to establish contact. So to build relationships with these people, you kidnap them and then
bring them back with presents.
And sickness.
Look, guys, I took your kids and now I have presents and I brought them back. But I'm also going to bring you back some illnesses.
And diseases. Yeah.
Diseases.
Wait,
so I hope y'all know.
Who was this man that kidnapped these kids and these old people?
He was a British officer named Maurice Vettel Portman.
Oh my God, Maurice, what's up with that?
Maurice, why are you so tight? Relax.
No. Yeah,
leave him alone.
Don't kidnap people. That's not the vibe. Bad vibes from Maurice.
Not a vibe check there.
No. Not a vibe from Maurice. Anyway.
Oh yeah, so
my mom listening, being like, "What are we talking? What's this language?"
It's the lingo. We're using the latest lingo.
Right. So Maurice basically came in and killed the vibe that they've been having going for 60,000 years. Can you imagine that? Having a 60,000-year-old party, Maurice comes in and just takes 6 of you away.
60,000-year-old vibe, and you just mess with that? No, that is not the way.
So after this, in 1896, an escaped convict tried to escape a Port Blair prison on a makeshift raft, only to land on the island. And after the disastrous encounter with Portman's little stunt, the locals didn't take any chances and killed the convict right as he stepped onto the beach.
Yeah, they were like, no, we don't need another man.
Yeah. Proceed with caution. Like, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Yeah, that whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. So I can't blame them, really, for this.
Exactly, that's what we're saying. Yeah.
Their one contact is with this guy who, like, kidnapped people. Like, it would be different if, like, there was a nice person who came and tried to be nice and inviting to these people and establish a connection, but no, the first interaction is freaking Maurice pulling up
Maurice Portman
inadvertently killing people,
right? And introduced some disease
and then brought diseases back to the island.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
we all know in this day and age, we all know what diseases do. Like imagine and we're used to this stuff.
That's true.
Yeah. Wait, is this island still? I don't know if I'm skipping ahead, but is this island still like untouched and like?
Yeah, I think the most recent story I'm going to bring up happened in 2014.
Yeah, made news.
What about them and like coronavirus? I assume they don't have coronavirus there.
They don't have it unless someone went to the island and was sick, which I highly doubt.
What are the odds?
It's illegal now. It's been illegal to go in this. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut
I don't even want to spoil it then. Like,
I don't write this in my script. They made it illegal to travel the island in 1956.
And the guy in like 24. Well, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Anyways,
not to skip ahead. Anyway.
All right. So the visit stopped until 1967, which was a long time after the 1896 escaped convict thing. So the visit stopped until 1967 when an anthropologist by the name of Triloknath Pundit, he's an Indian archaeologist. He tried to study the island, but found, again, empty huts and villages into the forest. Off script here, they think the reason that all these people are finding empty huts is because the locals are seeing these guys land on the island, so they retreat back to like a hideout.
Oh, because they could probably see these people coming.
And it's also maybe like a trap in a way, right?
Yeah. To lure them further into the forest.
Yeah.
Probably.
Maybe. I don't know. Do you want to test that theory, Gavin?
Yeah. Yo, let's fucking. Oh, and I gotta duck myself. Let's go to this island.
Let's go to this island.
And let's see what's up. We'll be super sneaky, but we're gonna be like, yo, we've brought vibes. But we should also wear like N95s or something. We should wear
definitely. We should
for sure
maintain social distancing.
Good vibes and social distancing.
Right.
Yeah.
So over the next few decades, Pundit would make more trips to the island, even having one peaceful encounter where he actually traded coconuts and gifts to the natives, and they even climbed aboard his boat to look around. So they're not like savages.
No, they're just they're living different. They're living their own lives.
They also take things with caution. They proceed with caution.
Yeah, I mean, because there's so much probably that they would get exposed to that they've never been exposed to for 60,000 years.
They probably have their own. Honestly, they might have their own like illnesses that we don't know about and that they're immune to as well. So not only is it a risk for us to be going into their territory, but it's also a risk for them to be coming, quote unquote, coming into ours.
True.
So even also, like, interestingly enough, too, they were another off-script thing, just because I did a ton of research. Off-script again. This is the most off-script we've ever done in an episode.
It's all in your short-term memory. You remember.
I know.
All these
I
fun
just
facts.
did this thing. Yeah. The archaeologist that I'm talking about here, Pundit, had the most successful encounters with these people, and he noted that they would do stuff that was considered offensive to these people because, again, there's 60,000. Like, take a civilization 60,000 years ago and pluck it into today's world. It's going to be a completely different social structure. And so,
smartphone stuff?
Like, no, they don't.
Different?
And it's
no
like
Apple
customs
TV?
too. Like, they had
not the same as what it was 60,000 years ago.
No, and
Really?
really,
What?
Crazy, right?
That's crazy.
They don't have Disney Plus. They don't know Marvel.
They don't have Disney Plus. They're not watching WandaVision. They didn't watch WandaVision. No,
the flight attendant.
But they said that they would do stuff that we would consider to be fine, like walking into the woods. But to them, that was like invading in their territory. And so they would get offended by that stuff. So if you like, it's kind of like they speak a different language culturally and languagely, like in lingually. And so they would do stuff that was like, you know, we would walk in the wrong spot and they would like turn their backs on us and they would do like a motion that was like, they would like squat down on the ground. And that was supposed to be like the middle finger, like F you guys, you crossed into our territory. So I think a lot of times, like, we're doing stuff, we don't know what we're doing, but to them, it's like highly offensive. And so they're not savages. They just have a different social structure than us.
That's also kind of, if you were to look at medieval times, how back then it was actually, there were manners to eat your food with your hands, which, you know, it's kind of a gross thing to do now. And pizza and ribs can be exceptions, but you know, back then it was manners, and today someone would be like,
even just in different countries by today's standards,
exactly.
there's even just different, like there's so many different etiquettes and traditions, and like even in I say normal, but like this is polite societies that we're all in all around the world, that there's different etiquette and stuff like that. I can only imagine how it would change for a 60,000-year-old colony, not colony.
Like,
we're gonna try.
They're still like in the Stone Age. Like, they don't know what farming is. They don't think
you've said that. You keep saying that, but I mean, I don't know what farming is. So like, it's not a high bar.
But it's agriculture that they do. So in a way, they kind of have a sense. Yeah, they may not know the type of corporate farming that we have here, but they
they don't even know what agriculture is.
Okay, neither do I.
Like, they don't.
We're not.
Well, Gavin. So you know, if you put a seed in the ground and you water it, it'll grow something.
Yes. You're saying that you don't think they've even figured that out?
No, they don't know that yet.
But how do you know?
Really?
No one's been...
Because they left Africa before agriculture was a thing, and then they never had any outside contact after that.
Yes, but they can discover it for themselves.
They haven't yet.
How do you? Well, but also agriculture, that's a societal concept. Did math exist before we discovered it? Did like chemistry exist before we discovered it?
Well, it did.
Exactly.
No, like, of course, agriculture.
Are there different types? Are there different types of sciences that exist that we haven't discovered yet?
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah. No, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, eventually.
We don't know much about this.
If they haven't found out about seeds in 60,000 years, it's a little slow. Get with the times, you know. Like, come on.
Well, so a few years after Pundit's first visit to the island, more archaeologists came to the island to shoot a documentary about the Sentinelese, but they were met by a hellfire of arrows, one even striking the director in the leg.
Oof.
Yeah.
Arrow to the knee.
Arrow to the knee.
That's a callback. Anyway.
And we were just having this big discussion about, you know, how if they didn't figure out the seeds, like, are they innovative and everything?
Mm-hmm.
And yes, they are very innovative, and I'll get into that right now. They're very innovative. So one of the more famous encounters of the island was in 1981 when a ship called the Primrose was shipwrecked on the island. This was a ship from Hong Kong. It was a shipping vessel. Because of the high waves causing the ship to crash, the Sentinelese were unable to attack or board the ship. So instead, they tried shooting arrows at the ship. but because of the primitive weapons of the natives, they couldn't go more than 40 meters, or the arrows couldn't go more than 40 meters. So they would just land in the water and they couldn't get to the ship. Because of this, they were able to be rescued by a helicopter, leaving the entire metal ship stranded on the island. And it's actually still, the ship is still visible on Google Earth and stuff. If you go to the very top corner, there's a ship. Yeah, it's very creepy.
Wait, hold on. Is this the film productions cruise ship? Is that what you just said?
No, the Primrose.
This is the Primrose. This is a different story.
Oh, this is different.
Yeah. I should have made that clear.
No. That's just me not paying attention. But hold on. I'm trying to go on Google Maps right now to find this.
Yeah. Can I share my screen?
Yeah.
Did you see this?
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
There it is.
It is.
Wow.
So what ship is that?
That's called the Primrose.
Oh. What year did that go there?
Gavin, if you pay attention.
Can you just say it again? Remind me.
So it happened in 1981. This ship crashed there in 1981. So it's been there for a little bit. In the 80s. Yes. And so they crashed, and the survivors were rescued by a helicopter. And it was thought, and actually somewhat confirmed, in 1991 by the anthropologist that we saw earlier, my boy Pundit. In his friendly encounter with the natives, he noted that the natives were using metal-tipped arrows and spears, which means that the Primrose, the ship, started the Iron Age on the island. Which means that because the ship crashed on the island, the natives were able to scrap the ship and use the metal that they found for iron-tipped arrows and spears.
Are you saying that they used it from the Primrose, or they used it from a different ship?
The Primrose.
That's really cool.
With the ship that we just looked at on Google, that's still like kind of there.
Mm-hmm. So in 1980, they were in the Stone Age. 1981, they're in the Iron Age because the ship gave them iron. Yeah.
There we go.
So they're smart. They can figure stuff out. They're pretty smart.
They figured out, hey, this is pretty hard. Let's start putting this on the end of sticks instead of rocks.
Right. And I say somewhat confirmed because I did see it. There's one source that I had that they said that someone noted that they had iron back in like the 1800s, but that was only one source. Everything else said that the Primrose started the Iron Age. So,
man, imagine starting the Iron Age of a civilization
because you crashed on an island.
That's like that would give you a god complex. Are you serious?
I did it.
That was me.
I'm not gonna do it. I did it.
So those are some of the stories that are from, older. I was born in 1999, a little insight about me. I'm a young
baby.
I'm a baby.
I'm a baby too. Don't even.
I was also born in 1999. Wait, what month? Wait, Chris, hold on. What month were you born in?
June.
Wait, I was also born in June.
We'll discuss after the podcast.
I bet I'm older than you.
I don't want to give too much information.
I don't want to give the information away, but I'm gonna hold up how many fingers is when I was on the day. This was the day. How many? When is you?
Wait, what's your thing?
Really?
I just held up my fingers.
I wasn't looking at you because
how many?
That's his day. What's your day?
I'm a baby. I'm a baby.
When is yours? Hold up your fingers.
Double your fingers.
Oh, really? Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
That's why I did this.
Yeah.
A baby. Anyway.
Aww.
All right. So getting back to this thing.
Okay. Would you rather we say that you're old, Leah?
I mean, I am like the oldest one in my friend group. That's cool.
What month were you born in?
Geezer.
August 1998. I'm not saying my day.
What's your star sign? What's your astrology?
I'm a Leo.
Of course you're a Leo. Oh.
Of course I'm a Leo.
I don't know anything about astrology. I'm just like, of course.
Leos are like strong-headed, hard-headed, kind of stubborn, but they are caring and they're empathetic.
Holy crap, that's you. Well, minus the last part. But.
Okay.
Minus all of that.
You don't think I'm empathetic or sympathetic? I really don't even know the difference. I was texting my brother today and I was like, yo, Jared, what's the difference? How would you use affect versus effect? And I was like,
effect versus affect.
Wait, so your brother's name is Jared?
Yeah.
Noted.
What's your just random side question? What is your, now that I know your birthday, what's your mother's maiden name and the street you grew up on?
Okay.
Anyway,
you know the town. You know the town.
What is all right? Let's get back to the topic.
Okay. So the reason I bring up the year that I was born is because I kind of split this up into the stuff that happened before I was born. So the stuff that was like the old stuff. So if you're listening to this and you're born in the 80s, I'm sorry for calling you old. So the two news stories I'm going to talk are about after I was born. So these are some two recent
I would
stories.
assume they're in the 21st. Like I assume it's like the 2000s.
They're in the.
It's not going to be in like July of 1999.
The first one is actually, it's sad, but it's kind of funny at the same time. And the second one is just sad.
Oh no.
Okay, well let's do the sad one first.
Well, let's do it in chronological order.
You want to do it in chronological order?
Yeah, I want to hear chronological order. We'll bring the vibes back up. What's the first one you want to talk about?
So in 2006, there were two sailors who were off the coast of North Sentinel Island. Mm-hmm. I should also note that they were highly intoxicated when they were sailing. No. So they were fishing off the coast of North Sentinel Island, and they were very drunk. And they were drifting too close to the island, probably because their rope.
Probably because they were intoxicated.
Probably because they're intoxicated. And they didn't realize how close they were getting to the island because of the intoxication. So there were other boaters around the area that were trying to warn them about their dangerous situation, but the two were too drunk to notice. Yeah. One source, I don't know if this was a joke or not, because I've never heard of this anywhere else, but they said that they had like a rope attached to a rock that was supposed to be their like anchor, and like it didn't work. So like, of course, I didn't hear that anywhere else. So I got that from a YouTube video, but we'll see. They drifted onto the island and they were promptly killed by the tribe. Rescue. They were drunk. So of course they went on vibing. Rescue efforts have been made to retrieve the bodies, but the helicopters were attacked by the arrows. This also did, to note, this is actually important because what it did was...
is this the first important thing that you're about to say? Nothing before this has been important.
Well, this is important in terms of the Indian government.
All right, everyone, listen up. This is actually important. Everything we've said for almost the past half hour, disregard it. This is important.
So forget all about that stuff that happened in the 20th century. That doesn't mean crap.
Nothing means anything anymore. And let's all go to this island.
What this did was this did two things. This disproved the theory that this was a cannibalistic island. If you take any archaeology class, they'll tell you that European colonies will like to make other tribes seem savages, and so they'll spread false information. In the 1900s and the 1800s, they were spreading these rumors that this was a cannibalistic tribe. What this death did was it proved that this wasn't a cannibalistic tribe because they found out that they had buried the bodies. So the bodies that they killed, they buried them in the sand.
Oh, wow. Wait, that is actually so interesting because like the fact that they would have thought to do that as opposed to like throwing the bodies in the ocean or something like that's much closer to what our civilization does. Wow, that's actually really interesting.
Right.
Wait, but how did they know that they buried them in the sand?
Because they had helicopters that tried to pick up the bodies and bring them back home.
Oh, but they were like,
but they could probably see the fresh sand.
And they found the fresh sand and stuff.
Wow. That's really
I have a question though.
What's up?
How did they end up on the boat drunk? Were they like, did they get separated from like their crew? Or did it sound for a vibe? Like...
They were out. So again, this is really close to a city. This
true.
It's a city. And so there's a lot of people who fish around there. And they probably just got on a boat. They were going fishing and they had a bunch of drinks. And so they're like really drunk and they're fishing and they just drift to the island, current staging places.
Yeah, it's actually not that far from other. I would have thought that this would have been like a totally remote island, like I think what we were saying at the beginning. But yeah, it's shockingly for how close it is to a lot of pretty advanced societies.
Right.
It's shocking that they've made it 60,000 years.
You can stay as far away from your mic as you want. You are still killing my ears. But also, it shows that, they, like I said earlier, are taking things with precaution, but that they do, they're not, like you said, they're not savages. They do actually care, that these people, sadly that they were killed, but that nonetheless they buried them and paid their respects by doing so. So, like you said, it was sad, but it warmed my heart in the end.
Yeah. And the second thing that this did was the Indian government noticed that, there's a trend coming along here. And now, like, it's a real danger to people who are around there. So what they did is they set up a 3-mile radius around the island. And they said, if you cross this 3-mile radius around the island, it's illegal. So now it's like, that's a protective area now. It has been illegal to go on the island since the 50s. but now it's illegal to get close to the island.
Oh, do they have like buoys or something like marking it?
I
Or?
would assume so. Also, word of mouth is pretty big too. Like it's not a big city. It's 100,000 people live in the city of Port. What is it? I've said the name a ton of times. Port Blair. It's 100,000 people live in Port Blair. I'm pretty sure. And so like fishermen know, like, don't go close to this island. Don't go to that island. Like that's why like when they were drifting close to the island, there were other sailors who were like, yo, you're getting really close to this island that's going to kill you. Like, you better go away. And so now they made it illegal to go 3 miles within the island.
Also, it's kind of like, is it also, if you cross that border, you somehow cross it, it's like, we can't help you. You're on your own. Would it
I don't
also
know.
be that case?
I don't know. I'm sure if you cross the border, like into that range, I'm sure like the Coast Guard would be like, hey, like,
yeah,
get out of
3
here.
miles is also a decent amount of
That
space.
is a decent amount, but also just like for some reason, I don't know. But sometimes there's like loopholes and things, and you never know. You never know.
Off script, just because I need
Off script.
I need to think. I want to get. It's all fresh in my mind. I just want to give you the information.
Exactly.
After the tsunami that hit, I think it was Taiwan. There was a big tsunami that just destroyed the area. A lot of people feared that this island didn't make it because it was kind of right there. And so what had happened was they sent a helicopter to the island to check out on the people to see if they were still okay. And when they got there, the island was very much alive. There was a lot of people that were still there, and the helicopter was getting hit by these metal tip arrows because they got it from the Primrose. So they had all these metal arrows that were hitting the helicopter, and it was actually damaging the helicopter. So if they stayed hovering over, they would have killed the helicopter people. So they had to fly away. And they found out recently that the reason that they were able to survive was because when they saw the water start to recede, they went to higher ground.
The people did.
The people went to higher ground.
Okay.
Yeah, they're smart.
But even if you go to higher ground, sometimes you're not always as lucky. Like,
Yeah. I mean, if it's a tsunami, yeah.
Exactly.
Right. And it also gets me. Sorry, Gavin. It also gets me thinking. Like, they've been around for 60,000 years on this island. I'm sure they've seen plenty of tsunamis hit this island over the course.
They know like the ins and outs, just how I know like every single speed trap back home. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I know, so I'm gonna like be careful. No,
Yeah.
but like seriously, they know the water, they know the area, obviously, so makes sense.
Yeah.
The thing that I wonder is, there've obviously been all this outside contact from the outside world to like try and go there and make contact with them and make documentaries and all this stuff. And like, for as much as they've like, made it illegal and such, they're it's definitely, I don't think it's going to stop. I'm sure even if it's a decade from now, 2 decades from now, 50 years, like there will be more time. Like, they're never going to stop people from going to that island, especially like you get a filmmaker who's like, yo, no one's been to this island in 30 years. Let's go check it. Let's get the permission we need, the protection we need. Like, I want to check it out. I want to talk to these people. Like, I just wonder what's going to happen in the future of interact, because that there's going to be some curious. I'm curious. I would love to see a documentary about it. It'd be very interesting to see what potential types of laws could be regarding evasion of privacy with this island, because they don't. It's not like they probably have any. Like, they might have some sort of government system. It just with their tribe. Like, you never know. But anyway, there's one last.
Before we get into that, Gavin, there are a lot of people fighting for the rights of these people on this island, the North Sentinelese Island, because of the publicity that this island has caused and the mystery. Everyone gets mysterious and everyone gets curious, so they want to go. Especially after the last thing I'm going to talk about. The last thing I'm going to talk about today really publicized this island like globally in a global news. And there's a tribe nearby that's connected to this tribe that has seen contact. And
was it called Quest?
I don't get the joke, but
no, neither.
What? Okay, there's a band called A Tribe Called Quest, and
but you had to explain it nonetheless, so we didn't get it.
Yeah, because you're both called.
And so what had happened was the tourism to see these people made it so that there was actually industries that were made that made it like a human safari. So trucks would drive through these villages and like stop like it's a zoo. So guys like, oh my God, there's one. There's one right there. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like, these are people. And so people are like, they're trying to shut those human safaris down, and they're trying to like stop this from happening to this island because it's just not fair to the people living there. And there was an anthropologist that was arguing like, we can't keep visiting these islands because what we're doing is we're altering the destiny of these islands, and we're altering the fate these islands are going to go down. They weren't supposed to know that we existed. They were supposed to find us on their own. They were supposed to learn how to grow food on their own.
And sometimes they didn't want to find us. But I mean, that's also, it's hard with technology and the evolution of technology and how it's still evolving. It's, you know, it's very hard, very, very hard to stay off grid. Like, you know, you have to basically be in the Stone Age in a way to not be on the grid. And, you know, sadly, they were discovered, and horrible things have happened to them.
They were going
to be discovered nonetheless. And colonies that are probably still out there that we don't know about, they're probably going to be discovered as well. And I hope that people just respect they're not discovered, or they haven't been discovered for a reason and for a while. And they want to stay that way and like respect it.
And like, if you yank someone out of that, island and put them into our world, they're going to go into a world that they don't understand, and it's going to mess them up. Okay.
Yeah, that's literally mind altering to those people.
Yeah, exactly. And so lastly, the last story I want to bring up, it happened in 2014. If you've listened to this podcast and you know about this island, you've probably heard of this story before. This happened in 2014. This is a Christian missionary from the United States of America named John Allen Chow. He tried to visit the island to convert the Sentinelese to Christianity. This was bound to happen. So he visited the island 3 times. He should have got the hint the first time, but he was attacked by the tribe the first time and retreated. Once again, he tried to meet the same tribe again, go on. He was attacked by arrows. One of the arrows actually hit his Bible. That stopped the arrow from going into his heart. Should have taken the hint the second time. The third time, he tried to go alone because he thought that they would be less intimidated if there was only one person there instead of a bunch of different locals. The third time, he was killed by the tribe and buried in the sand. And so there was actually
couldn't get the hint. Take a hint, man.
Yeah. The fishermen that brought him over to the island were actually arrested. There was a murder case that was opened up. All these fishermen were found to be responsible for this guy's murder. They're not going to hold the tribespeople accountable because they've been doing this forever. And they're not going to enforce that law. And so now they're going after the fishermen that illegally brought him into the island. Because remember, this is after the 2006 thing where you can't cross 3 miles into the border. He illegally went 3 different times to try to convert them to Christianity, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
So that's North Sentinel Island. I was going to say uncontacted tribe, but they're the last remaining, as far as we know, Stone Age tribe in the world. So,
wow, that's incredibly interesting.
Yeah,
I agree. I remember hearing that on the news. It was a sunny day, and I was watching it. And I was getting ready to go to school, and I was with my mom in the kitchen. Yeah, I can place like scenes really nice, but I remember hearing it, and it was like really
I do
sad.
think I vaguely remember hearing about that was with them, and there was like that island brought back up. But yeah, the island overall, that's so interesting that in 2021 there's still able to be a civilization that is pretty much living in the Stone Age, aside from a little bit of iron.
Yeah.
But wow, like that is incredibly fascinating.
Yeah.
I think it's fascinating because, you know, this would have been a perfect episode to have our other guest on from the previous episode on for this one, because it's essentially like you want to look at what people lived like back then. Like, this is before ancient Rome, ancient Greece, ancient Egypt. Like, these people are before, like, you look at cave paintings in France. This is before that. Yeah. Like, this is like before that. These are the first people to come over from Africa, and they went basically straight to this island and didn't leave. Like, this is as close as you're going to get to like how hunting and gathering societies were. And so no wonder there's so much interest around this island, and no wonder there's so much, like, there's this drive to go and visit these places, because people want to see what it's like, because we're so bound by our phones and our social media and our you know, our technology, that we want to know what it's like to be back then. And it's just you just can't because you go in there and you threaten these people by your diseases and your technology. Like you set them on a course that they're not meant to find.
They just don't want to be on.
Right, exactly.
They're just like, leave me alone. Like,
Yeah.
go away.
I wouldn't have even thought about the whole diseases thing. Like that's such a great point about how their immune systems are completely different from ours.
Right.
Because they've never been vaccinated. They're anti-vaxxers.
Right.
They've never had to deal with like a common cold would probably kill them.
I mean, I don't think they're anti-vaxxers. I just don't think
I'm joking.
they know.
They don't know what vaccines are.
Exactly. Okay, I would have been like,
they don't know what vaccines are.
No,
but like polio would kill them. Small, but like any of thing that we won't get would obviously kill them. Like
it's the germs on us right now.
Throw them off.
And they have no health care. Like there's no doctors. Like like you might get like sick. Like we'll get the sick and like we'll get sick like with a cold or a flu and we'll be fine because we have a built up resilience to this stuff. And we also have doctors like just in case that's a really bad cold or a really bad flu, we can go to the doctor and get checked out. They don't have a doctor to get checked out. Like they don't have medicine. They don't have all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I hope they kind of, I hope people like leave them alone and people just kind of understand that that's what they're asking for. It's really not that hard. Really
but I mean, like they don't even are they even aware that they should be asking to be left alone because they can't even ask anything. They don't know. They don't know what the outside world is like.
They don't know
they can't, but they're, as you can tell, they're hurt. They're, they're protecting themselves and coming with the consequences of going after a helicopter or killing a person, It's just like, if that isn't a sign to back off, I don't know what is.
Right. And it's also like, it's funny to say there's a lot of people that in the sources they were saying, like, it's funny that they're technically under the rule in the government of India. They have no idea India even exists. Like they also like their first experience with a person kidnapped them.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
That'd be sorry.
Not a great first impression.
No.
Here's a present. I'm sorry. Oh, but it has germs.
Oh, and there's also
there's germs.
Exactly. Well, wow, that was just crazy story. I did not know about that, but now I'm glad that I do. I know we usually say our favorite parts of the story, but I feel like it would be insensitive to say our favorite.
Maybe what we found most interesting.
What did we find the most interesting?
Okay, all right.
So Gavin, why don't you go? What did you find?
You can go first. It's okay.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
I would say the ship that crashed that's still there that they got the iron from, that I find super interesting because that I wonder if that may have been the biggest like life-altering thing for them. Of like, sure, they've had encounters with people, but an encounter versus new supplies and this like exposure to a new element basically and like new types of weapons and tools and stuff like that probably changed the way they were living. So I think that was the most interesting thing for me, or one of the most interesting things. Leah?
Leo is sympathetic, empathetic, whatever it is. But I think the part where the two guys, they were killed by them, obviously, but that they buried them. That really just shows that they do have a heart at the end.
Yeah.
But they're scared. So, Chris, what about you?
I was also going to say the ship, but I'll find something else that I can talk about. What's something that I really liked?
I think the Bible by the heart was like pretty lucky.
I would have taken the hint after that.
That's a fatal hit right there.
I think just the most interesting thing about this entire thing is, the fact that they've been there for 60,000 years, and they've been there for 60,000 years. And the first story that I talk about, I kind of went over it pretty quickly. But in 1771, that British surveyor, he was on a mission that was just to scout, like map the area. He wasn't supposed to land on any islands. He was just supposed to map the stuff. So when he saw the island, he's like, I'm not gonna go on there. Like, I'm just gonna check it out. But he saw like fires, like he saw like lights on the island. He saw the fires, and like it's just like they're just probably lighting their stuff. But it's just like it's weird to think that they were lighting a fire on that day in 1771, but they were also there on that day lighting fires in like 50,000 BC.
Yeah,
like that's just like that's mind blowing to me.
I mean, they probably have like stuff that they do from way back then that was, obviously handed down generations to generations. But like they've probably like come up with their own things as well, which is, pretty just outstanding, amazing.
Yeah, I mean they've made it this far, so I wish them the best.
Wish them the best.
Maybe this will be one place that we don't go.
No.
Because I know that for a lot of these past episodes, I've been like, oh, let's go to this place. Let's see
You
what it's like.
literally said earlier, you're like, let's go.
You know what would be,
I think I rescind my statement. I feel like this would be a bad idea.
you know what would be a good idea for the podcast?
What?
To have like a series that's like places I wouldn't go. And you have like this, Chernobyl, like another island.
Oh, I'd go to
somewhere. You have,
Chernobyl.
like-
Come on, I'd go
You know,
right
No,
into that.
you wouldn't. No way you would.
Oh, I would. So would.
There's so many places that I think after eventually when the podcast is over and we've talked about everything there is to talk about, I think we need to create a TV show where we
go to them.
go to these places that we've talked about that are the safe ones. I've said that in past episodes and I will continue to say that. I think that would be so fun.
So we're gonna go to this island then? We're gonna go here?
Tentatively. We'll put it. We'll tentatively.
You guys can go without me, but I'm gonna respect their wishes, and I'm
The
not
amount
gonna
of
go.
all right, so Leah will
out,
probably
boys.
be a producer because the amount of places that I said this and Leah's been like, you guys can go and have fun.
You guys
and
go.
is
Would
how
you
I
guys,
work.
would you guys come to the catacombs with me? Like, not the ones that are on, like you know,
Paris
the
catacombs?
Paris catacombs.
Oh, like go there with you?
Like, go there with me, but not on a tour. Like, you have to illegally go in.
I'd go there to hide around a corner so that when you come, I go, wow.
I've been there legally. Like I've walked through the catacombs of Paris. They're
But
pretty
were
sick.
you on a tour? Because
No,
they do.
I mean, they just let us go. They just opened the door and they were like, follow the path.
Oh no, I'm like meaning like illegally get into the catacombs, like and follow a catalyst or whatever they're
For
called. 'Cause
legal
they're-
reasons, I will not declare whether I have intentions to do that on a podcast we are planning to publish in the event that we do that. So
I'm totally gonna go on the tour.
We have intentions to do that. I think that's the perfect place to wrap up. For This Strange World, I'm Gavin.
I'm Leah.
And I'm Chris. Thanks for listening.
Stay strange.
Bye.
This podcast was produced by Gavin Berger, Leah Ettinger, and Chris Ash. Our theme song is by DJ Kai Song, and our logo is designed by Michael Zilvetti.
Be sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and check out more episodes of This Strange World, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at This Strange World Podcast and on Twitter at This Strange Pod.
If you have any ideas for future episodes, let us know. You can message us on any of our social media platforms or email us at hello@thisstrangeworldpodcast.com. And now it's time for the sources, because Chris hasn't been to this island. None of us have. We don't know what was there, but people have written about it and made videos about it. So Chris, where'd you find your sources today?
That's what you think, Gavin? You think I haven't been there before? How dare you?
What if you were the one guy that we talked about that went there? What if you tried to convert them to Christianity? Or the other one that brought in the 80s? What if
The guy actually kind of looks like me. That went on the
spooky
Yes, he does. I kind of vaguely remember what he looks
he
like.
kind of looks like me.
reincarnation?
And the guy in the Budweiser seltzer commercial.
All right, so what are the sources? Not what
All right, so the sources.
looks like.
The first one, visiting North Sentinel, an island untouched for 60,000 years. This is a YouTube video by Be Amazed. Forbes.com, everything we know about the isolated Sentinelese people of North Sentinel Island. And Wikipedia, John Allen Chow. That was the Wikipedia article about the guy visiting the island.
Lovely. I love that for us.
I love
Well, this
that.
was a great one. This is what is this? Episode four? Yeah, four maybe. I think it's episode 4 of season 2.
It was
I think another great one. I think it knocked it out of the park. Very strange.
very strange.
Well, now we're in the epilogue.
So strange. Super strange.
Any final thoughts, Leah?
Leave him alone. Leave him alone.
Leave the Sentinelese alone.
Leave alone. Oh my god.
Honestly, it's still relevant because there's the whole Britney stuff coming out. So it's all relevant. That's all. Bye.
Bye.